Okay, thank you everyone for coming tonight. As you know, we're doing a presentation and a bit of a seminar on a very Japanese concept, Omotenashi. I'd like to ask, very briefly, why did people come to this seminar tonight? Does anybody have a reason why you came to the seminar tonight? Can you tell me, why did you come tonight?
Why? Actually, I come to the seminar every month.
Every month? Okay, very good. Maybe the best reason we can have. Anybody else have a reason why you came tonight? Yes?
Yes, I've been working as a tour guide from overseas, Norwegian, so it was a very suitable theme, so I decided to join.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Very good. Anyone else?
I'm still to have I work for a consulting company doing mystery shopper.
Mystery shoppers.
Yeah.
Okay, yes,
So
very well.
kind of interesting in Omotenashi stuff.
Excellent. Very good. Wow. Anybody else? I know why I came. I was told to come. So we're going to be talking today about the international omotenashi. This concept is a little bit unique. It's a little bit special. And we're going to look at how in international countries in the West, I'm from the United States, and specifically with the United States and some of the Western countries, how we view hospitality. Hospitality is what Omotenashi is all about. It's hospitality. And we have a special way that we look at hospitality. Japan has a special way that Japan looks at hospitality. Somewhere in the middle is when the visitors come to the country. We want to make sure that we're able to deliver the really special experience for visitors. So thank you everyone for coming, and hopefully you'll enjoy the presentation today. What I'd like to do is start off a little bit here with a bit of a bio about myself, my own profile. So my name is David Kelver, and I'm originally from the United States, from the Chicago area. Has anybody been to Chicago? Nobody goes to Chicago. Every time I ask. In New York, Seattle, LA, Hawaii, Chicago, no. I'm the Director of Operations at Dean Morgan Academy. And in my job, I spend a lot of time working with the employees on service, expectations, customers, really trying to deliver additional value to our students and our possible students. We enjoy delivering value and delivering service. So because of that, I was kind of brought into this topic today. I attended university in Chicago at the University of Illinois, Chicago. And afterwards, I did my MBA here in Temple University. There's a Japan campus. And MBA means that I'm good at basketball. I can shoot and dribble and dunk. I have about 15 years of experience in the hospitality and education industries. And before coming to Japan, I worked at the Hilton in Chicago. And the Hilton that I worked at was a very, very large hotel. We had a lot of international guests. And my first experience working with Japanese was at that hotel. And that's when I started realizing the differences between different countries coming in. When you're in that environment where constantly new countries are coming in, people are coming in, visitors are coming in, you start to notice that everyone has a different expectation for hospitality and how to be taken care of. So it's a great experience. And the hotel I worked at was quite famous for service. We had since 1927, every US president has stayed at our hotel. And you knew when they came because there were so many security guards that you never got to see the president, but they were staying there. Additionally, I have experience with project management, risk management, and virtual team management. Do anybody know what virtual team management is? Recently, with work, people are not always meeting together. So I work with a team for our IT system they're overseas, they're in India. We spend a lot of time working and building on projects with an overseas team. So that's virtual team management. Just a bit about my background. And what I'd like to do is take a look here at our presentation outline for today. So first of all, we're going to look at the concept of international omotenashi. And I put a question mark there. It is definitely, when we talk about the international omotenashi, we are talking about hospitality. Being a warm, welcoming person for guests, making changes and being flexible for visitors and for guests. It is not the Japanese style. Omotenashi is definitely an international style. So please have some fun with this today. I will. We're also going to look at empowering people. And that's a very special word, empower. Does anyone know what empower means? Power. What is power?
Giving energy.
Yes, power, energy, strength. Empowering people is giving energy, giving strength to people. In companies, we give power and we give strength to employees. Let employees make decisions, be flexible, adjust the company service to the guest or the customer in front of them. This is empowering employees, letting employees make decisions. We're also going to look here at a very special concept called touch points and recognizing customer touch points. What does touch mean? Touching. Yeah. Putting your finger out, touching something. This is to touch. So a touch point with a customer these are the opportunities that companies have to actually connect person to person with customers. They happen all over the place. And every touch point is an opportunity to deliver great value, great service. These are the company touch points. And then finally, we're going to do some group tasks at the end. And the group tasks are going to be a lot of fun. We're going to give you some role play opportunities. We're going to do two different tasks here. Understanding guest needs. So really listening and understanding what the special needs are for people who we might be coming into contact with. And also delivering a memorable experience. When you deliver service to a guest, if they leave your business, if they leave your company, and they remember you in a good way, they tell their friends. Their friends tell their friends. Their friends come in. You start getting that big the positive energy from people when you deliver a very memorable experience. And we also have here a little graph showing two key points that we're going to look at a little bit deeper in a couple minutes. One is on service personalization. Personalizing service means changing the service from the standard to the individual. One person, one guest. They are expecting a service that suits them. Personalization is being able to change the product offering to fit that guest, to make him really happy and deliver that memorable experience. And we're also going to look at process consistency. A process is doing a set of actions in a row, in a chain. And consistency means the same. So doing a set of actions again and again and again the same way is high process consistency. We're going to look at both of these two factors here and see how they compare. So first of all, international omotenashi. The translation is loosely selfless hospitality. And this is an interesting word, selfless. Most people know the word selfish. I see people shaking their heads. Yes, we know the word selfish. Selfless means doing something for someone else with no benefit to yourself. That's selfless hospitality. Delivering a great experience or a great service to someone, not expecting something in return for yourself. So this is the loose translation for selfless, for omotenashi. Now what's interesting about this concept is in business now, it is being studied. Companies are studying selfless hospitality, really trying to empower their employees to deliver that memorable experience we mentioned. In business, this has become known as the wow factor. Wow. A great experience when you have a moment where you say, wow, I did not expect this level of service, or I did not think they would do this. That's wow. Companies are studying and working with their employees to deliver this wow factor when people visit their businesses. In the West, this idea, this wow factor, is limited mostly to individual companies. One company works with their employees to deliver a great service or a great expectation to their customers, their guests. Companies have been studying this and perfecting it just for their company. With Omotenashi, it's a little bit different, and we're going to look at that in a couple of slides with our touch points. And we'll see something a little bit interesting that happens with Japan as opposed to some of the Western countries. And this process here, this wow factor, is being studied as a business improvement process. Companies are sending people to seminars, not like this one, but a little bit different. They're doing training. There are service degrees that are specializing in these types of wow factors. Some of the key concepts here is empowering people. When we talk about the wow factor, the reason it works is an employee is making a decision. An employee feels that they have the company's support to make that decision and deliver that wow factor. Also the touch points. Companies are looking around, understanding where they have interactions and contact points with their customers or their guests. These are the points where they're really training their people to make that wow moment. Understanding the guest needs. Companies have gotten much better at listening to their guests, their customers, getting feedback from their customers, changing their service in the future for their customers, looking at new groups of customers coming in, offering new products, new ways of speaking to them, to really understand their needs. When you understand your customers' needs, you're able to deliver that wow factor. That extra service is prepared for that. Some companies have done an amazing job of monitoring their customer profiles. When you visit a company, they're taking notes. When you come back, everything's waiting for you. It's amazing the amount of energy and time people have been putting in to these wow factors. And finally, delivering that memorable experience. A memorable experience is one, it's a very positive memory. People will go back, they will take out their photo albums, their video cameras, they will show people, this is what I did, this is where I went, here is the person. They'll show when they were taking that video and say, this is the guy who really helped me at this moment. His name was, and they'll remember the name, they'll remember where they were. So these memorable experiences here. I have a very interesting few points here coming from the MSN Money, which is it's a website, and I have the link down here at the bottom. This is their 2012 Customer Service Hall of Fame. They took all the customer feedback, they did surveys, took a lot of customer feedback on different companies to find out who is really delivering this amazing service to people. The list is quite interesting. Number one was Amazon. Amazon rated the highest. The reason, for me, this does not surprise me. There's a reason. My wife. My wife loves Amazon. Loves Amazon. She's amazed by it. They have like this receipt that you can pull off of the back of your boxes and save it. She thinks that's the greatest idea, which means they listened to customers. They put that there because people wanted it. And that was, for my wife, the wow factor. The delivery time is great too. The speed, the quality of the service is really good. Google. Google was in there number 2. Has anyone here ever complained to Google? One complaint. Has anybody here used Google? Yeah, a lot of people here use Google. Google is used millions and millions and millions of billions of times per day and per week, and people don't have a problem. The reason why is they listen to their customers, they follow the processes, and customers are getting that wow moment again and again and again with their services, their products. Google Maps, and that was just a wow moment for me. Saying, wow, that's amazing that somebody actually put that time and effort for something for free. I've never given Google any money, but they keep giving me these products that are just amazing. Apple, everyone knows Apple. The customer service is quite famous. How many people here are Apple users? Yes, we got a lot of Apple users. This is definitely the customer service for them is a big one. UPS, Sony was an interesting one. I didn't realize Sony had that high of customer service on this. They were a tie with Hilton Worldwide, which is a company I used to work for. FedEx is in there, which is also a surprise for me. Marriott International, American Express, and then Southwest. Southwest is a company I really like. They have a unique service. It's fun, it's consistent, they have a lot of flexibility for how they can interact with guests, their passengers, short flights, really high impact service delivery in a short period of time. People leave the plane, smile. It's a very good business model they have for the service side. But this is the concept of international omotenashi. I mentioned earlier that we had this slide. We'll come back to it. Now we're going to come back to it. Empowering people. With service, there are two key factors with service. The service personalization, which is tailoring and changing the service for one person. And the process consistency. Doing things the same way again and again and again. Both are very important. Very, very important. It's a balance of the two that allows people to do the wow. And you can see this wow is up here. It's not easy to get to. It requires both. With personalization, we're talking about unique experiences. A very unique experience. What does unique mean?
Special.
Special. Very special. Unique is one. It's unique. It's one of a kind. And with service personalization, if I go to a business, if I go to a company, if I go to a country, that experience is mine. It's one. If with a high level of service personalization, a company is able to give a very special service to that one person. This is the unique experience for the personalization. Product customization. What does that word mean? Customize. Yes, modify, change. If you have a high level of service personalization, your employees are able to change along the way to make sure that this customer, this guest, is really getting a great experience along the way. That's the customization side. With a high level of personalization, our employees are able to customize. Non-product related advice. This is an interesting one. I'm from the United States. And in the United States, in our restaurants and in our hotels, you will see a lot of guests and a lot of customers asking a lot of questions that don't have anything to do with food, with the hotel, with the restaurant. When I worked in restaurants before, people would ask me about my favorite movies. They would ask me about local entertainment. They would ask me directions. They would ask me about all kinds of things that had nothing to do with food. And I would change and give them my advice, give them my thoughts. And sometimes they really liked it. Sometimes people would come back and say, that was a really bad movie. Sorry, I like action movies. So this is non-product related advice. In the United States, it's very, very common in a restaurant or in a hotel to be giving advice that's not related to the product or the service. This is the personalization side. Individual decision making, the employee being able to make a decision. That's individual decision making ability. And it's a very important part of delivering a very personalized service. Many times employees will feel that they don't have the power to make a decision when they see a wow moment in front of them. Companies that really support their employees to make that decision, to customize the service, to be flexible, those are the moments where you can really deliver that wow. And finally, off-menu orders. I've lived in Japan for a number of years now, and menus are pretty strict in restaurants. What's on the menu is pretty much what you're going to get. In the United States, people would change everything. I don't want fries, can I have salad? Okay. I don't want bacon, can I have chicken? Okay. And pretty soon, the actual food you put on the table, it doesn't look at all like the food that came out of the menu. You have to figure out how much do we charge, how do we charge this, how do we make this, and what you do is you deliver a unique service, a unique product to that person. But these are off-menu orders. It happens quite a bit in the United States, especially if you are in a tipping environment. when waiters or anyone in a hotel, if there's tips involved in the United States, they will customize anything. So that's a pretty good rule of thumb for you there. So I have an example here of a little man in the high level of service personalization. What is this man? What's his job? Bartender. Yes. Has anyone here ever been to a bar? Yes? Okay, yeah, bars are fun. Bartender does something special. He makes a drink for you. Will he change the drink? If you want maybe cranberry instead of orange juice, he'll change it. They'll give you a very unique and specialized product to yourself. That's the high level of personalization. Bartenders are really good at personalizing the product, personalizing the service. They have huge amounts of decision-making ability. How much alcohol do I pour? This guy looks like he needs a stiff drink, maybe just a little bit more. Or if someone says, I really can't drink much, maybe a little bit less. They're able to really be flexible with the products. This is a bartender. But bartenders don't make the same drink the same way each and every time. Very low level of consistency. The high personalization, low level consistency. It's possible for a bartender to give a wow moment, but not like maybe a good drink, good service. You might like the bar, you might go back. But that real wow moment probably is not going to happen just by making a good drink. This is personalization. Now there's two sides. There's a second side here is the consistency. Process consistency. I've put up here fast food. Has anyone worked in a fast food restaurant when you were younger? Oh yeah. Did you feel like you had a lot of flexibility to change the menu, to change? No, you're shaking our heads no. Yes, in fast food, it's all about the process consistency. Training, making sure everything is the same along the way. The customers expect that consistency. They come back for that consistency. In a fast food restaurant, not many people have a wow moment. I've worked in them as well when I was younger, and I don't remember customers saying, wow. Customers got what they expected. Process consistency, we're talking about standard processes. The company has a company standard. This is how many fries you put in one cup, or this is how much soda you put in one drink. Very strict training. The training is each part of the process is being trained exact. Low individual decision-making ability. Even the manager often doesn't have much ability to make a decision. He can offer maybe a refund, but often the manager doesn't have the ability to make a decision. Customization is very minimal. Maybe you could say no pickles or extra cheese, but you have to pay for that. The product customization is very, very low. And management checklists. What's a checklist? Yeah, we're checking our hands here. This is a checklist. In the high process consistency companies and industries, managers have a lot of checklists. They're able to walk through an assembly line and say, check, 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 check. That's a very high level of process consistency. In a bar, you don't walk through a bar and check, 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 check. You do that in a place like a restaurant that's a kind of fast food. So this is the process consistency side. There's a trade-off. To get to this wow moment, there's a bit of a trade-off. You have both personalization and consistency together really give us a much better opportunity to make that wow moment. There's a strong process consistency. The stronger your process consistency, the lower the personalization usually becomes. The higher the personalized service, typically the lower the process consistency becomes. Finding that nice balance where you're able to deliver safe products to your customers, quality products to your customers, but also being able to give your staff and your employees that ability to make a decision, to be flexible, to deliver a wow moment. That's the real feeling for hospitality. I mentioned this earlier, touch points. I mentioned the word touch, taking your finger, putting it out, and touching. These are touch points. Touch points are how we measure the number of times that we will actually make contact with our customers or with our guests in a total process. So here we have, it's a human-to-human meeting points in your service delivery. I have a basic example here, a hotel. Has anyone here ever worked in a hotel? Okay, good, a few of us. I've done all the jobs that we put out. Yes, when I worked in a hotel, the phones were always ringing. Someone picks that phone up. On one side you have a guest or a future guest, a possible guest. Or you could have a reporter, it could be anybody. That phone rings, there's a touch point. You have your employees, your staff talking to a possible customer or a current customer. It's contact, it's a touch point. In that touch point, there is the ability to make a wow moment. The lobby entrance. Every hotel has a lobby. You open the door, you walk into the lobby, you see people. If nobody comes up and talks to you, if nobody helps you, you've lost that ability to deliver a wow moment. Good hotels will have somebody carrying your bags in for you, greeting you, opening the door. Hotels is specialized in these lobby experiences. Front desk, waiting in line in the front desk. Long line with no communication, you have no idea how long it's going to take. These are touch points. People get frustrated if they get bad service here. If you see it being managed very well, people feel like the hotel is in control of the situation. Check-in, room service, restaurants, concierge. Concierge is special. The concierge is basically a person whose job is delivering wow moments. A good concierge has the ability to deliver wow moments again and again and again. They're specialists. And it's a really amazing job if you can do it well. You know everything about the city. You quickly can understand the guests, their needs. You think, okay, this is the kind of experience that this person in front of me really wants. And you deliver it, and they come back and they're so happy. Great advice from the hotel, they will tell their friends. Checking out is also a big part of the wow. In Japan, I've been very impressed with checkout. The checkout there's always a big smile. It's a welcoming departure. When I leave, it's a really good process people have typically for checking out. I feel like the hotel wants me back. Not every hotel is that way. Some hotels take your key and it's kind of like bye. You don't feel like you're really welcomed back. But Japan has actually done a really good job with the checkout. So as I mentioned earlier, in the US and in Western countries, the touch points are often viewed at one company, one business, their customers. With Omotenashi, we have something a little special. I'm going to bring back our original slide. And I've put here industries. This is a typical flow of a visitor to Japan. A visitor comes in, they go to the airport. You move from the airport, you go to the hotel. In the hotel, maybe there's a restaurant. Visitors to a country are going to go to the local museums, see the local culture. They definitely take transportation. Police officers are always needing advice, directions. Japan, the Koban is an amazing idea. I will say of all the things in Japan that are most impressive to me, Koban is one of the top. It's a very, very good way of welcoming people. Even though the Kobans don't always speak much English, they don't always know what's happening in the area, they're nice and they're there. And it's a reassuring and welcoming feeling for visitors. So the Koban is actually really good. Parks, and especially we have coming up with the Olympics, we will have a lot of people visiting the sporting events, and all of the work and coordination and organization for the Olympics is going to be a major one. So the idea of Omotenashi is a country idea. It is a complete process of a visitor coming into Japan, experiencing all the parts along the way, and leaving with a great experience, delivering that really big wow moment. This is the the Japanese concept of Omotenashi. It's a countrywide welcoming. I want to take a quick look here at food restrictions. Now, when we are talking about hospitality and flexibility and service, one of the areas that always comes up is food. Food is important. If we don't eat food, we die. So people will always eat food. Anyone who comes to Japan will eat food. Japan is a little bit different with food. People in Japan don't have many rules about what they can eat and what they can't eat. Japanese take a lot of pride in the food, the way it's prepared, the ingredients used, the process about it. There's a lot that goes into the food. Allergies. We have a list here of 8 different food types and allergies. These 8 foods make up 90% of allergies. 90% are made up by these 8 foods. Milk, eggs, peanuts is actually usually mostly found with children. Children at around age 6, people who have an allergy to peanuts will usually overcome it, usually stops. So more of a child, but it can be very, very dangerous. Soy, fish, wheat, shellfish is quite a famous one, and then tree nuts. So these are all ingredients that are very commonly used in Japanese food. But when you have a guest who can't eat these, and they sit in a restaurant, and they can't put these foods in their body, and there's a process and a pride and a history behind that food, there's the need to make change, to be flexible with that service. Another interesting food restriction, religious. Japan also does not have very many issues with religious food restrictions. Very few that I'm aware of. There's 4 main categories of food restriction for religion. One is the food preparation, the way it's made. It's very important to prepare the food in a certain way. Even if it's the exact same ingredients, preparing it in a certain way is most important. Prohibited foods. What does prohibited mean?
Foods you can't eat.
Yes, not allowed to eat. It's different than allergies. Allergy is a physical problem with eating the food. Prohibited means that they're not allowed to eat a particular type of food. There are a number of foods that are prohibited. Pork is a very common one that's prohibited. In a lot of cases, any meat is prohibited. Tableware is an interesting one. Tableware is plates, forks, knives, frying pans even. There are on if the plates or if the fork or if the knife in the past has been used for foods that are prohibited. And so even if you clean it, it still is considered inappropriate or bad, which is a very difficult one for restaurants sometimes to get around. And then alcohol. There are a lot of rules about alcohol and the restrictions on that. And finally, it's lifestyle choices. There are a number of people who have made a lifestyle choice. It's not a health reason. It's not religious. They've chosen to change the way they eat food. Vegetarians, people who choose not to eat most types of, they don't eat meat, but there's also things like milk that people are often okay with eating. Eggs, many vegetarians will eat eggs. Vegans are stricter. Vegans will remove the milk, they will remove the eggs. They will eat only plants, I guess. Health conscious are people who have made a decision for health reasons to be healthy, to not eat food that was fried, to not eat dark meat is a common one. Many people only eat white meat, like chicken or fish, because it's healthy and it's white meat. And finally, doctor's orders. Doctor's orders is a very tough one. If a doctor tells someone that they can't eat something, it could be no immediate risk, but something that for the long term it needs to be kept out of their diet. These are food restrictions here. Very, very important for the hospitality industry. We are going to be today practicing some situations with hospitality. And to practice these situations, we are going to introduce some language that we can use when you're working with a guest or you're working with a customer to deliver that really special, unique experience. The first one is asking about special requests. And what I'd like to do here is get everyone to kind of repeat after me on the first one here. Can you please repeat and say, can I ask if you have any special requirements?
Can I ask if you have any special requirements?
Yes. Special requirements can be a number of different things. It can be food, it can be movability. People might not be able to walk upstairs. There are a number of things that come in this. And a special one here. Can I ask if you have any food restrictions?
Can I ask if you have any food restrictions?
Yes, this is quite important if you work in any hotels, restaurants, the tourism industry in general. If you're setting up restaurants or travel plans for people, the restaurants and the places you go along the way, you definitely want to know about any food restrictions. And can I ask, or could I ask, before the question makes it very polite. Age. Nobody likes talking about their age. If you say, how old are you? People say, very direct. But sometimes you need the age. So you can say, can I ask your age? It's a much softer way of professionally delivering that question. Can I ask your home country or where you live? Can I ask your first language if you have language needs? The second one here is making a request. Now we've all been in a situation where we really needed something and we have to ask a person to do us a favor, to help us out. So making a big request. The first one here, please repeat after me. Can you say, do you think you could?
Do you think you could?
Yes. And would it be possible to?
Would it be possible to?
Yes. Now, we're in Japan. In Japan, there's a polite language called keigo. In keigo, the bigger the request, what happens to the question? It's longer. It can go for a long, long time. English is the same. It's the same in English. When you have a really big request, it gets longer. So here you have, do you think you could, and would it be possible to? We can combine these in a big situation. And please repeat, say, do you think it would be possible to?
Do you think it would be possible to?
Yes, this is a way of asking for a big favor. In a hotel, a good example. If you need towels in a hotel, towels is a very small thing. You can say, can I get some towels? Could I get some towels? And they reach below the counter, they pull them out. Here you go. It's simple, it's easy. If you want to change your room, that's a big one. Can I change my room? They're going to say, why? If you can explain the situation and say, do you think it would be possible to change my room? That's a much nicer way and much more polite way of asking for a big favor. And the final one here, which we will be practicing shortly, accepting requests. Accepting requests means you are the one who's working, and a person is coming up to you and asking you for something special. So accepting requests. Please repeat after the first one here. That shouldn't be a problem.
That should be a problem.
Good. And I think that should be fine.
I think that should be fine.
Good. And the last one here. Let me check on that.
Let me check on that.
Yes. I've done something here that's quite clever. And that is I have not promised anything. I use shouldn't be, should be, let me check. No promises. And that's very important when you are responding to a customer. If you know it's okay, that's good. That will be fine. That is no problem, it's okay. If you really don't know, don't promise. But be very positive about it and make people think that you really are working for the solution. This is our target language we will be using in our group task coming up in just a moment. What I'd like to do before that is see if there's any questions. So the presentation part of the seminar is finishing. We will be moving on to the group task now. So are there any questions on international Omotenashi?
Is America good at international Omotenashi?
Interesting. Certain companies are really good at the service delivery. Certain groups are very, very good. Others are not. There is not. It's a big difference between Japan and the U.S. In Japan, there's a much greater emphasis on the we, on the group of people providing a single, well-delivered experience for a visitor. In the U.S., it's more individual. Each company looks at it individually, and if they are individually doing a good job, they're satisfied. So to answer that question, some companies individually do a very good job. Other companies have zero focus on hospitality or concern about hospitality. It's definitely a mixed bag. Yeah.
What level of expectations tourists have when they come to Japan?
That's a fascinating question. Some people, Japan it's a really interesting country for tourists. There are people who have had a dream of coming to Japan their whole life. And since they were children, they've been fascinated by Japanese culture. They've studied it. They know the movies, they know the manga, they know a lot about Japan. For them, their expectations of Japanese culture are really seeing what they've been studying their whole life. They want to see the real life examples of what in their mind they've looked in books or they've seen by themselves but never actually had the chance to see. Other people don't know anything about Japan. Other people will come to Japan and maybe they need to do business here and they know nothing else about Japan. They don't know about the transportation system, they don't know about the people, they don't know about the language, the food. Everyone knows sushi, that's for sure. But apart from that, it's a big spread. Probably more so than a lot of countries is Japan. Some people really are focused on Japan's culture. Other people will come here and they just don't know anything about it. So the expectations are friendly. Japan has put out an image of being friendly. And the total service delivery is friendly. I do believe it is friendly in total. Some people are expecting that. Other people are going to be wowed because they're expecting something more like the US will deliver in total, which is probably a much lower level of overall service than Japan. That's a great question, though. Anyone else have questions?
I have a question
Yes.
about the English expression.
Yes.
So, could you give us some example? How to turn down, how to refuse the client's requirement politely?
Politely. I don't really think I'm able to answer that question right this moment. I just did that.
The one that comes to my mind is I'm afraid or
Yes. Apologizing at first is always most important. I'm really sorry. And if you ever use words really or very, it's strong emphasis. I'm really sorry. I've asked the manager, we've tried. Unfortunately, we are not able to, for example, when I worked in the Hilton, often people had food that the food was pre-mixed for certain ingredients. And people who were allergic wanted us to separate out, and we just couldn't. It was already mixed. So I would have to tell people that I'm really sorry for this particular item. The food is already pre-mixed. It's impossible for us to separate it out. However, give them an alternative choice. What I would recommend is trying this item here, which is quite similar, and the food, the ingredient that you can't eat is not in there at all. But it's always a strong apology. The really is always has strong emphasis. But very good question. Yes. Anyone else? Questions? So I think what we can do here is have Matthew set up our group test and have fun with that one.
Okay. Thank you very much, David. Thank you. So before we